Hello and welcome to my Wii review of Wii Play. My name's Dave Bignell. Hello there! I've cut this review into two halves because there's 9 minigames on Wii Play and I wanted to look at them all in a bit of depth. Wii Play usually comes bundled with another Wii Remote, which is very nice, and that's usually a way in which you can get a second Wii Remote and a free game with it. Now, especially these days, Wii Play and the Wii Remote tends to be a little bit cheaper than just buying an extra Wii Remote on its own. The only trouble with that, of course, is if you want to buy another 3 Wii Remotes, you end up with a couple of copies of Wii Play you don't need. But strange, but true. I don't know why that is, but there you go. So sometimes it is cheaper to get those two bundled. Now, like I say, Wii Play is 9 minigames, and each one shows you a different way in which you can use the Wii Remote. The idea being that if you complete all the 9 minigames, you become some sort of expert on the Wii Remote. Some sort of wizard, if you will. The first minigame is Shooting Range. Now, this is a simple sort of point at the screen and shoot things game. You press either the A button or the B button to shoot things. You can use the Wii Zapper with this if you want, although it's not designed for the Wii Zapper, so there's no real need for it, but you can use it if you feel a bit better at shooting things holding that. And it's a really good game to train you at pointing things at the screen and shooting. Now, it's particularly good for perhaps the older generation who weren't used to this technology, weren't brought up with it, and it just kind of trains you into getting your head around pointing things at the screen and shooting things. So that's really good. Now, with a lot of other shooting games, this has some very similar concepts, like certain things give you more points. If you shoot lots of things in a row without missing, you get a combo, you get more points that way. You get penalised if you shoot things you're not supposed to. For example, your face can come up on a little circle, and if you shoot that, you lose points, that kind of thing. And they've used the Mii's very well in this as well, which is very nice. Your face pops up every now and then, and at the very end you have to save yourself from being attacked by aliens. That kind of thing, which happens in ordinary life, of course. Now, with all the games on Wii Play, you can play them either 1-player or 2-player. Now, on 2-player, you get to compete against each other, so on this one it's quite straightforward what you've got to do, you just got to get the most points. And on 1-player, you're always trying to beat your own score. My only criticism of this game would be it's not long enough, although that's the idea of it being a mini-game, I suppose. It's over quite quickly, and you feel like, this could have been a really good full game, but like Duck Hunt, something like that. But hey, it's not. It's a little tiny game, and I would recommend, if you want more games like this, to play Link's Crossbow Training or Wild West Guns, something like that, which are an expanded version of this. They've got lots of different levels, lots of different things to do. But this is a very nice little shooting game. The next minigame is Find Me, and this is another sort of point the remote at the screen, clicking on things sort of game, so it's trying to get you used to doing things like that. You get set a different challenge on each little tiny level bit. For instance, the first ones are find 2 Mii's that are identical, and you just click on the 2 Mii's that are identical, and hey presto, you've got that level, that kind of thing. The further on you go, you get things like you have to find the Mii that's running the fastest, you have to find the Mii that's looking a different direction to everyone else, that kind of thing. So it's kind of getting your brain into a kind of mental state where you can spot different things. So that's quite good. Again, on 2-player, you are competing against each other, the one to find them the fastest. On 1-player, you just keep building your time up and up, and you try and get through as many stages as you can, and you collect points on the way as well. I wouldn't say this is one you'd come back to lots and lots on Wii Play. It's a nice little game in there. Something that is quite fun is it uses, of course, all your Mii's that you've collected on your Wii, and if you're like me and you've got a few crazy Mii's on there, it's quite funny to see them pop up. The next minigame is Table Tennis. Now, if you're expecting a sort of table tennis version of Wii Sports Tennis, think again! It's absolutely nothing like it. And not to be confused with the up-and-coming game that I'm very excited about, Wii Sports Resort, which does have a proper table tennis game on there, as far as I can see. So, by the way, I will be reviewing that one when it comes out. Can't wait! But anyway, off the point a bit. This is table tennis on Wii Play. Very, very, very difficult to control. Basically, you move the Wii Remote left and right, and you don't move the remote like you do in Wii Sports Tennis. You kind of just sort of move it backwards and forwards and left and right where the ball comes to try and hit the ball back. I find it very hard to control. On 1-player, you have to get a rally of 100. I haven't got anywhere near that. I'm not quite sure how you're supposed to. Or on 2-player, you're playing each other. in a sort of normal rules game of table tennis. Very hard to control. It's to kind of get you used to the sort of forward, backwards, and left and right motion of the Wii Remote. I don't think this is that great, to be honest with you. It's quite fun when you're playing on one player. The more points you get, the more me's come to watch the game. But I find it quite infuriating and quite a difficult game to play. The next minigame is Pose Me. It's very hard to explain this one, but basically you have to fit your me into a bubble before it reaches the bottom of the screen. So bubbles fall from the top of the screen and you have to rotate the Wii Remote around so you can fit into the bubble. It's kind of one of those that's easier to see and play than it is to try and explain it. But I'm giving it my best. And you press the A button and the B button to change the pose that your me is in, and different buttons require you to put different me's in there at different poses. Is this making any sense? It's probably easier just to see the thing I've videoed and work it out from that. But this is to try and train you to twist the remote. So you're learning how to twist the remote into different positions, and you can do it all the way around, and some of the bubbles come up with a me position that's upside down, so you have to turn the Wii Remote all the way around, that kind of thing. And you have to do it quite fast. It's quite difficult, this game. It's very difficult on two-player because you can kind of trick each other, you can steal bubbles from each other, that kind of thing. So again, you're collecting points. It's quite weird on this game. The backgrounds change to pictures that I would expect they could have used your photo channel. You could have used your own photos. But for some reason, pictures of birds come up, pictures of flowers, that kind of thing. It's quite nice. The bird's picture in the background's a bit weird. I'm not sure why they picked that. But this is quite fun. Another one to try and train you into putting your Wii Remote into different positions. Again, I don't think this is one you'd come back and visit a lot on Wii Play, but it's good fun for a bit. The next minigame is Laser Hockey. Not quite sure what accent it was I was going for there. But yes, laser hockey, very much like air hockey, although this has been designed in some sort of crazy neon way. It's really good, very bright level, and I quite like the music on this, it's quite catchy. You basically move the Wii Remote on the screen, left, right, twist it around, shake it all about, that kind of thing. Basically, I suppose it's now the next stage on of learning how to use the Wii Remote. You've done all these things, and this kind of combines a lot of the movements together to hit this strange neon horseshoe thing around and score it into the other goal. It's really good. Sometimes you can get a bit confused, I think, on this with the controls, because it's quite easy to sort of get into the game quite a lot, and the next minute you aren't pointing the Wii Remote anywhere near the telly screen. And a little handy message does come up saying, please point the Wii Remote at the screen. But by the time you've done that, you've lost your goal, that kind of thing. It's very good. I enjoy this one. It does take a bit of practice to get used to the controls. Again, you can do two-player or one-player. Two-player is probably a bit better. One-player is good fun as well, though. The next minigame I am reviewing is Billiards on Wii Play. Now, to be honest with you, I find this particularly hard to control. Now, firstly on this, the graphics are very good. The music's quite catchy. It's a little recurring bass line, and when you hit a ball, drums kick in, so that's very interesting. And your me appears on the white ball, which, I don't know why, but it's there. Now, what you've got to do is you point the Wii Remote at where you want to hit the ball. You hold down B, you pull the Wii Remote backwards, and then you push it forwards again, as if you were sort of letting a cue hit the ball. Doesn't always respond very well, in my opinion. I've found myself quite often pulling the Wii Remote back, that works very well, and then pushing it forwards, nothing happens. And you keep trying that for a few times, and then before you know it, you've misjudged the shot, and you've whacked the ball all across the table, and you've completely ruined it. So I don't think this replicates the cue particularly well. But it's a fun game if you get the hang of it. You'll just find that every now and then you won't be able to do a shot properly because it won't be responding. It's also because you have to hold the Wii Remote completely straight, which is very difficult to do when you're standing up or sitting down, unless you're sort of using a table. But it has to be almost dead straight to get it right. So that can be very difficult to judge. I think this is one of those things that when Wii Sports Resort comes out, with the Wii Motion Plus, they would have sort of corrected the idea of sometimes the Wii Remote not quite working out where you are in space and time. So that's the end of my first half of this review. Check out part 2 of my Wii Play review, where I will be reviewing the minigames on there: fishing, charge, and tanks. See you there.